we have talked about it before to a small degree. Now we're going to really dive in. James Harden, the year started in a crazy manner for him. Trade demand. Russell Westbrook didn't want to play with him anymore. He didn't want to play with Westbrook anymore. He didn't want to play in Houston anymore. Comes out, drops, 44 in his first game. Just killing it the first few games.
In a fat suit.
And Houston's like, oh, cool.
In a fat suit, don't forget that.
Right. And Houston's thinking, oh, he going to ball like this? Then we
good.
just won't trade him. And so he finally says, you know what? For them to trade me, I'm going to have to lighten up a little bit.
Act
and so
a
his
fool.
number goes down. Now check this out. He still averaged 24 and 11 assists, close to 11, 10 and a half assists with Houston. But he played 8 of 9 games, kind of dogged it for a few of them, even though he put up numbers. And he got traded. And since he's been in Brooklyn, he has been lighting it up. So much so, last night he goes for 30, 15, was it 15 rebounds or 15 assists? It was 30 points, 15 assists, and 14 rebounds.
Ridiculous.
His 7th triple-double
Ridiculous.
in 22 games with
How about
the
this?
Nets.
The most triple-doubles for a Nets player in history?
In a season, you mean?
In a season. He's already passed it, Chris.
Well, Kidd had 12 in a season.
I thought they said he only had 6. From what I read. Okay,
12,
so he had
but
12.
he will pass that in short order. But he will pass that. But, yeah, so he is lighting it up so much so that Brad Daugherty, and for you youngsters, Rob, because the youngsters probably don't know, Brad Daugherty was a heck of a player.
He had a bad hairline, but he could ball out, Chris.
What they used to say, he had a 3 head or something?
This is true.
Head? They made fun.
No,
yeah, he had a
but his hairline.
He was never going to go bald. He didn't have
his
to worry about
hairline almost touched his eyebrows. That's how close his hairline. Seriously, he didn't have a forehead, Chris.
Well, that's what they said. He had a 3 head or 2
right.
head.
It wasn't a forehead because I'm telling you, his hairline was right above his eyebrows. It was unbelievable.
Yes, but he was a really good player. Played with Michael Jordan at North Carolina, then went to the Cleveland Cavaliers and did damage, did work. And a back injury, I actually covered, I was the beat writer for the Cavaliers the year he retired.
Really?
A back injury, yeah, he had bad discs in his back and had to retire. But he was probably on pace for a Hall of Fame career. He was about
he was a really
29. Right. For his 8 years or whatever he ended up
Some
playing.
of the millennials probably know him, Chris, for the
NASCAR.
For the NASCAR. He's a NASCAR announcer.
Right.
Like this
Did
7-foot-tall basketball
player. Did you ever work with him at the old network?
I saw him in the halls, but I never worked.
I worked with him several shows. Good guy, really a lot of fun. Good guy, and but anyway, he's talking basketball somewhere, and here's what he said about James Harden.
I take back anything bad or negative I said about James Harden. James Harden.
What? No. You can still say it.
James Harden is the best player in the NBA. He may be the best offensive player I've ever seen. I'm telling you, he is at a whole. Now I know the playoff stuff and all that. It's unbelievable. His numbers are gotten so easily. And I was watching the game, and I was thinking back to watching him with Houston when he was kind of going at about 65, 70% and still scoring 30. I'm telling you, man, this guy is unbelievable. And I think he is absolutely the best player in the NBA.
Those are huge words. For several reasons, Rob. Number one, he called him the best player in the world. Number two, this is a guy that faced Michael Jordan many times, played with Michael Jordan at North Carolina, and faced him several times in the NBA. And let me say this to all those out there, because a lot of people, Rob, probably aren't even watching some of the games, and they're just looking in the box score. And Kyrie's playing tremendously. But if you just look at the numbers, you might say, well, Kyrie's playing better. He's the leading scorer. with Durant.
Nah, James is doing everything.
Harden is
James
playing.
is doing everything.
Harden is, Rob, he is looking like one of the best point guards we've ever seen.
I totally, Chris, because I've been focused in on that Brooklyn team. Every chance I get a chance to watch them, I do, and I'm always trying to see how it fits. Even without Durant and Harden has been tremendous. I'm telling you, I don't even recognize this guy from the guy who played in Houston, and I'm dead serious. I don't.
And I do. I remember him at OKC, and he showed playmaking ability, unselfishness, all great passing skills. And he showed him in Houston at the time. Remember, he led the league in assists at least once in Houston.
But my vision of him,
he was
right.
He was,
my vision of him is just taking these threes and drawing the fouls and just like holding on to the ball, dribble,
Right.
dribble, put up a three. That's not where he is, Chris. And if you're the Nets organization, ownership, coaching staff, you are ecstatic. Are you kidding that a guy of that caliber could come, join in, and do what they've been doing, which is they've lost one game. They lost a game where only Harden played, right? What was that game? They just got blown up.
They've won 10 of their last 11 or 9 of their last 10.
Something like that.
They're 16-6 in his 22 games with the Nets. And remember, a lot of that is without Durant.
Those three have only played 7 games,
Kyrie.
Chris.
Yeah.
Those three have only played 7 games.
So it is phenomenal what he's doing. I think, Rob, and I'm an MVP voter, he's right there. I think LeBron, Harden, and Joel Embiid, not in that order, but those are the 3 front runners. I don't know in order at this point. I mean, you don't need one at this point of the season.
But he's in the
those are
conversation.
Oh, my God.
He's in the conversation. And you know what? You said it. I think he's still below because of what Harden is doing. But you mentioned it before. Kyrie's balling out. He's been, Chris, since he came back. I know he's missed a couple games.
I think he's playing just like he did before he left.
But he's playing right.
He's been great the whole season when he's there.
No, right, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, when at first coming back, people were wondering where his head would be after the layoff or whatever. He's just picked up, you're right, where he left off. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, and the question now, and I was on First Things First this morning debating with Nick Wright. Nick Wright wants to believe, he feels like Harden is basically disqualified for MVP because of the 4 or 5 games he dogged it in Houston. And I get it if it's nip and tuck and close, that could be something, you hold against him. Well, this guy played all 82 hard, whatever. But to think that disqualifies him, I'm sorry, it doesn't. It was like 4 or 5 games. It wasn't a quarter of the season. It certainly wasn't half of the season. And if the Nets continue to play at this pace, Rob, continue to decimate the other elite teams in the league, and he continues to be the key. And he's the key because his unselfishness, Rob, him going there, immediately taking the 3rd most amount of shots behind Kyrie and KD. He set a tone, and then playing point guard, not playing 2. He set a tone of unselfishness, and you're watching them. They all make the extra pass.
All of them.
And now role players are touching the rock. I mean, heck, last night this dude named Nick Claxton, who I have no idea. I know. Somebody named Nicholas Claxton dropped like 21 or 19 or something. But everybody's getting open looks.
They get open looks, and they're getting the ball, Chris. They're open. The ball is coming their way. That's what I'm saying. If you're the coaching staff and you're Steve Nash and those guys, you got to be like, dude, I'm loving this. You got to be loving it because you just mentioned it. All kinds of guys, Harris, all these guys are coming up with big games. It ain't just those 2 or 3. And Durant's been out, hasn't missed a beat. When that guy comes back after the All-Star break, there'll be a few nights when they don't play well and they lose. But they're not going to lose that often, Chris. I don't think they will.
And that's the thing. Both you and I are like, look, if they run through the second half of the season, really put a ton of distance between themselves and whoever's second place in the East, it's going to be hard to hold the MVP trophy away from James Harden. And we'll see. Like I said, I think LeBron's still very much in the hunt, Joel Embiid, and we'll see if anybody else jumps up. There's 35 games or so left. But right now, that dude is very much in the conversation, we believe. So let's see what you guys think. Should James Harden be penalized in the MVP race for what happened in Houston? And better yet, should he be disqualified altogether from it? Your turn to weigh in, the Odd Couple.
All right, let's kick it off with Francois in Rochester, New York. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Doing
Good,
great.
brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. I actually am calling because I got a little bone to pick with Chris Broussard.
Uh-oh,
All
Chris,
right,
what'd
pick
you
it.
do?
Just be ready, because I pick back.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're my favorite and his favorite commentator. I watch you all the time. But I called him last week and was the first to say that James Harden was the MVP. And I heard you on First Things First saying, I was the first to say it. I was the first to say it. Last week, you guys were talking about the Nets and him being the MVP of the Nets. I called him and was like, no, he's the MVP of the league. And he just
I remember that.
exactly
Chris, give him credit.
I don't remember all that. I don't. I remember him calling in, but I don't know if he said it before we talked about it.
But I remember
I don't know if you know
yeah.
what I mean. I do remember a call where we were talking about him being MVP of the Nets. I feel like we were like, he might be the MVP of the league too.
Right, the way that he
If
was
I remember
playing,
it
we
correctly,
did put it out there. We did.
Right. I think he called up and said it too, but we had said he's the MVP of the Nets, and he might just be the MVP of the league. You know what I'm saying?
If they keep playing the way that
Right.
they're playing, right.
So we
How
wasn't
about
stealing your shine, but
No,
I'll
but
give
we
you props
appreciate
for
that.
but, yeah.
Yes, Francois, appreciate it. Paul in Colorado, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Paul?
Hey guys, how you doing? I love listening to your show.
Thank you, buddy.
Man. Thank you.
Hey, I just got a couple things. I just think the character has to play, I think, a little bit of a role in the MVP voting. But then my second point is, if you took James Harden off the Nets, how much better would the Nets be if, say, you took Embiid off the Sixers or LeBron out of the Lakers? That's all I got.
Well, I do agree that, and Rob, this generally does work against guys. If you have even one other superstar, let alone two, it generally works against you. But there are incidents. LeBron won 2 of his MVPs with Wade and Bosh. Kareem
Right, you're not
MVPs
automatically
with Magic.
excluded,
Well,
right.
his first, Kareem won
Right.
his last one with Magic because Magic was a rookie.
No, it doesn't
But
mean you're
Magic
automatically,
won some with
right.
Kareem. He won 3, at least 2 with Kareem of his 3. Bird won 3 in a row with McHale and Parrish. You know what I'm saying? So I hear him. But number one, Rob, Durant hasn't been playing. If Durant had been playing this whole time, we probably aren't thinking of Harden this way, because even though he'd be playing great, maybe Durant would be even playing better.
Chris,
it would be different.
You're spot on. That makes a huge difference. They haven't missed him.
Right.
And Harden is the reason why. That's why you could look at him. Okay, so now they're winning all these games. And if Durant comes back and they're
Against good
unbeatable, right?
Right.
Then you
Absolutely.
go, look. They were winning before Durant got back, and now they're winning at an even higher clip. So he can still look good if he still puts up those numbers, Chris. I really believe that. Let's go to Chuck in Kentucky. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Everything's not funny.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, Chuck?
man?
Chuck, where in
Hey.
Kentucky are you?
Man, I'm in this small town. Probably never even heard of it.
Princeton, Kentucky. Yeah, I don't know
No,
where that is.
I have
Okay.
not.
I used to live
I've
in
heard of
Kentucky. I'm a
Paducah.
Kentucky guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. No, it's all good in Kentucky, man.
All right, so what you
All right,
got?
what you got?
No, I think James Harden is playing killer this year. I mean, he's taking it to a whole nother level, and I think with the right combination, you get the right fit of people, and good things happen, especially with the coach. But the situation with Houston, I kind of feel like, if you remember, like when Kobe Bryant had things like coming up against him, and all he did was just play his way right out of that stuff, and people kind of, in a sense, forgot about it because he was just playing so
Right.
well and then become one of the greatest in the league. And Harden's just he's out there just dominating. So I
He
think
really
people are
is.
going to quickly forget, this stuff whenever, he continues to do what he do. You can see his name right up there at the top of the list.
I agree. I mean, Rob, beginning of the year, at least when he first got to Brooklyn, I may have said I certainly wasn't thinking of him as an MVP candidate. And I may have even said, had somebody asked me at that point, oh, with the way he left Houston, no, he won't get it. But he's
Right.
playing so well. At the end of the day, it's about who's playing the best basketball. And he is.
But see, even I'm gonna say this, but Nick Wright, even his statement that he should be disqualified, you could tell he's not an NBA writer, Chris, because that doesn't disqualify you. Do you know what I mean? To just automatically say he's disqualified because in 5 games in Houston he forced his way out, he was overweight, and you look at that. No, it's actually the other way. That he got himself back to where he was and elevated his game, changed his game, and became the MVP of a team that already had 2 stars before he got there. I think it's a more compelling story, to be honest, Chris.
I mean, look, I get why people can be upset. Oh, he quit on this team. It was a few games. And at the end, are we going to hold it against Anthony Davis? I mean, Carmelo Anthony, Rob. Remember, Carmelo Anthony and Anthony Davis, let's keep it real. They ruined the whole season for their
Thank you.
teams.
Keep going.
Melo ruined a season in Denver, and that was a good team, Rob. Anthony Davis ruined an entire season in New Orleans. James Harden were 4 or 5 games. That's it. And so, the next year, is there a grace period? Is it just that season? Is it forever, the rest of your career that you're penalized? What? So, yeah, we're on the same page with this one. All right, we got James Posey. Welcome to the Odd Couple, brother. How are you?
What's happening?
I'm good. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
We are great, man. Great to have you on Pose. And Rob
Thanks for
and I
having me.
were just discussing how we believe James Harden is right in the mix of the MVP race
Despite
with LeBron
all
and
the
with
talent.
Joel Embiid and all that.
Right.
And there are those that think the way he left Houston, and we know he kind of dogged it for 4 or 5 games, that pretty much should disqualify him from winning MVP this year. Do you think that should work against him? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, unfortunately, that's the nature of the business where players, they could take that route to sort of get what they want. I wish he hadn't done it that way, but it worked out in his favor. But in doing so, changing teams and the amount of eyes that's going to be on the Nets, he has to play and he's going to have to win now. And I just think that's just extra little motivation for him to get the critics and the people off his back a little bit, and also for him just to step up and make sure that he plays a great brand of basketball.
James,
So you don't think that should keep him from MVP, or do you?
No,
If
long
he
as he's
deserves it.
long as he's producing. But for me, I just think always LeBron James should be the MVP. He's been a man that's constantly in the finals, and he's proven to be the most valuable player for his team to get him there, and that's where you want to be at the end of the season. And I know the MVP is a regular season award, but I think for whoever the candidate is, if they make it to the finals, and that's, like I said, that's the ultimate goal, I think they should always be the leader. And for myself, I just say LeBron James. But if he's putting up crazy stat lines and you can't deny him the MVP, then that player is well deserving of it itself.
What did you think when Harden actually was traded to Brooklyn and they already had KD and Kyrie? Did you think this was going to work? Because if you want to go back and look at some of the Twitter timelines and what people were saying, that this team is not going to work, there's only one basketball, they're going to be bickering, all this other stuff, people couldn't have been more wrong about this mix. Where were you on this team?
I was like everybody else. I was just waiting to see how it would work out. I mean, for right now, they really haven't had a steady dose of, playing time together. But it just reminds me of when I was in Boston with the Big Three. Like, it was a major sacrifice among Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. And the point that they were in their career, it was about winning and doing it right and trying to give themselves an opportunity to win a title, and they did so. And if they understand that with, the firepower that they have amongst each other and just the outright, the best talent that they have combined, they give themselves a good chance. And as long as they continue to play right, don't get bored with the process, and understand that each night is going to be a sacrifice. So every night you're not going to be able to get your numbers, and you got to be okay with that, with the win or with the loss. So if that is expressed to them and they understand that, they stand a good chance of making it to the finals.
Now, there's a lot of talk. The question mark people have about the Nets is defense. Can they play good enough defense? You were a defensive stopper. You were a guy that, like a 3-and-D guy. But when you look at today's NBA, it just seems with the floor so spread, you got so much more space to cover. You can't hand check anybody. That it's hard. It's a lot harder to stop people now. How is it fair to say today, in today's NBA, that defense wins championships? Or do you think that a team might not be that great defensively, but still can win a championship in today's NBA?
Well, you got to play some defense. So I say as long as you put up a standing fight defensively and give yourself a chance to get some stops. And with the Brooklyn Nets, they have firepower across the board. So you got guys that could get 30 apiece. So if you look at those three right there, that's 90 points in itself right there. And the way the league is now, I mean, teams are scoring 100+ points, and you don't have those low-scoring games. So as long as they put up a fight defensively and get stops when needed, I think offensively they will be able to outlast most teams, because depending on who they're playing against, you're not going to have a steady diet of those scoring players on that team. So you might have one or two, and that might account for just half the points. But with those guys, they're capable of 30 points a piece. So like I said, that's 90, and then you include the role players just chipping in here and there, and they're able to pull out most games scoring-wise. But defensively, like you said, as long as they put up some resistance, then they have a chance.
Earlier today, I wrote a column for Deadspin, and I said that Kawhi Leonard has been a bust with the Clippers thus far. Is it too soon to say that? I know it's a year and a half. Okay, they didn't win the championship the first year, but there's some pretty bad numbers about him in the clutch moments of games for the Clippers this year. He's really struggled. Is this going to work out? Is there a real chance that the Clippers will get to the championship or have a chance to win with Kawhi?
Yeah, I think they have a chance. I mean, right now it's just a regular season. You got T. Lue, the head coach now, and I know T. Lue, and he's just getting guys ready, just to have a great regular season to put them in a chance for the playoffs, and then they'll worry about that when they get there. Not big on stats, but he does have to be a big contributor for that LA team, along with Paul George. So right now, I'm not worried about the Clippers. I just know in due time, when the playoffs come, they'll be ready. And Kawhi, he's a proven player. He's got it done before, and he'll be ready. And it's just a matter of getting, the new additions, on the same page, and the guys that's been there, on the same page, and their mindset as far as, erasing the memory from how the season ended last year to right now. It's a new year, and it's a new opportunity for them to do something about it.
Real quick, I want to ask him about that. You brought up, I know you and LeBron James are buddies, and you think he should win the MVP every year. You thought he should have won last year during the regular season, his regular season compared to what Giannis did?
Was LeBron James in the finals?
No, it's a regular season award, James.
Here's what I say.
It's a regular season award.
Because we hear you. The finals MVP is the most important, because that means you won the championship. But because a lot of people say they should just wait till the end of the finals to give the MVP, right?
Right.
But then it would just be the finals MVP award.
Right. It's not about the regular season.
You know what I mean? It would diminish the regular season award, which wouldn't even exist at that point. So that's why we gotta. Now I agree with you. It's not in a vacuum. You understand what the guys have done in the past and in other playoffs and all that. But that's why I'm firmly against just making it after the playoffs, because it would just be the finals MVP.
Right. So if the regular season award, if the stats, if that's what it's going to be based off, and that player deserves to be MVP, okay, give it to him. So now, if the player has great stats and their team is not as good, do you still award that player MVP?
So 2 years ago when LeBron, when the Lakers didn't make the playoffs, if LeBron had the best stats in the league, you're saying he shouldn't have got the MVP, right?
if that's what based on what everybody is saying, if you're saying the best stats for the most part, it doesn't matter how far you take your team as being the most valuable player. If that doesn't matter, then yes, you got to put that MVP on the regular season stats, and whoever has the best stats.
But not just the stats. Your stats have to lead to winning. Bradley Beal will not get an MVP vote this year.
Right. He won't get one even though he has
Milwaukee had the best regular season. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Giannis.
Because we didn't know at that point. We didn't know Lakers were going all the way to the finals. Bucks were going out early.
Nobody had any idea of that. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, nobody had to do. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from Giannis, but like I said, it's just one of those topics where you could go back and forth, and maybe it's some change to it, or maybe not. But if everybody understands what it's based upon, then you shouldn't really have a issue with it. Whoever wins MVP.
Pose, since you being bold, man, is LeBron the GOAT? I mean, since we going there, we got a minute. Is LeBron the GOAT?
Chris, what? This is like a layup. Are you kidding? He says he should win the MVP every year, so obviously he's going to say that.
I don't know. Pose saw Jordan. So who you got, Pose?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up on Michael Jordan. Was able to compete against him a few times before he got out the league. And for myself, Jordan is the GOAT to me. But LeBron James.
I'm calling LeBron. I'm calling LeBron. Are you kidding me?
Listen. You could call LeBron James, and like I said, LeBron's body of work has been impressive. His all-around game for the most part. But like I said, I grew up on MJ, and that's what I knew. And so LeBron James, he is in my top three. So therefore,
so like is he two? We got him two.
I will give LeBron James number 2. Yes.
Who's 3?
Kobe.
I got Kareem. I don't know who Rob got.
Yeah, I don't go with that.
But so, like for myself, and just a little bit of, Kareem, I'm saying, he's up there as well. But it's just not, being able to get the full effect of his body of work. I'm seeing it from afar and just from, old videos and things like that. But I mean, I am a Kobe Bryant fan as well. So just for me, because I was able to see that night in and night out, and there's nothing against those, those other greats and the guys before me and before those players, but I just wasn't able to witness it, for myself.
Pose, good work, man. We put you on the hot seat. Great stuff.
Yeah, we had to after all that LeBron.
You did.
You about to get some texts and some calls and some DMs.
After all that LeBron sugar, I got a toothache. My God.
All right, Pose. Great stuff, man. We'll talk to you some other time.
All right. Thanks for having me, fellas. Appreciate it.
Brother. Yep. Check him out on the Pose Cast. That's on basketballnews.com. Couple, keep it locked.